Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 12, episode 5, and today we face 12th place Wolves in the Premier League as we continue our quest for a comfortable mid-table position. Before we go through transfer deadline day, the January window where everyone panics, fingers crossed we're in a position where we don't have to do so, although a defeat today could see a change of heart. I think it may be a rather quiet day, but there'll still be one or two little bits of business, so we'll just take you through the day and the way that we go about things. But let's go and look at our results since you were last with me. We've got one little bit of transfer news as well. You were with me for the 4-0 win against Blackburn away from home last time out, probably our best Premier League performance so far. We followed that up with a narrow 1-0 defeat away against Manchester City, a really decent performance with our backs against the wall, but to be honest we never looked like scoring and a 1-0 defeat's fair enough. On Boxing Day we got a 1-1 draw away at Southampton. Lee Rutherford again with the goal to give us the lead on the stroke of half time, but Southampton came back into it late on, and in the end we were quite pleased to take a draw. Our usual bogey side then beat us at home, Everton with a 3-0 victory. I think it's the exact same result we had last year. I'm pretty sure we played them just before our youth intake, and again it ended the same way. Disappointment at home to Everton. Into January though, we're unbeaten so far. It started with a really solid 0-0 draw at home to Arsenal, a good performance defensively, not too much going forward, but we did enough to get the point, and then a mighty shock in the FA Cup third round, a 2-1 win at home to Liverpool. They actually had half of their first team out. We played a few of our reserve players, the likes of Ross Taylor, Lee Milne was in goal, Lindstrom's obviously a backup, and then Allingham and Duncan as well. But we did get the victory, a brilliant result. Jimmy Lindstrom with a first and Ross Taylor with a second, and we managed to survive a late onslaught from Liverpool to come out with a 2-1 victory and put our name into the hat for the next round. The following Friday in the Premier League, it was the same score at home to Newcastle. Lee Rutherford and James Hayes put us 2-0 up. Leighton Kinsey got one back from the kickoff after our second goal for Newcastle, but again we hung on for 10 more minutes and managed to get a crucial 3 points. We followed that up with another win, this time away in the North East against Middlesbrough away from home. Lee Rutherford gave us the lead after 5 minutes, a really good finish, and it was enough as we got a 1-0 win and pushed ourselves towards 30 points. West Ham away in the FA Cup followed that. Lucas Bedger came in. We could play our first team in this one as we had a week between the fixtures, and we got ourselves through to the 5th round where we've now got Championship Norwich at home. So I'm starting to think we're in a position now, if we could win 2 of these next 3 Premier League games, we could really have a go at the FA Cup and try and win it. It'd be a brilliant achievement if we could try and win a trophy for this club, and obviously winning the FA Cup takes us into the Europa League qualifying rounds, which would be an absolute dream in our second Premier League year. But obviously there's still 4 games to go, so I don't want to get ahead of myself just yet. But if we go to the transfers and look at the one bit of business, there are a couple of potential ins and outs on the cards. No outs so far in this window, just one more in on loan. We did lose Suzuki to Wolves. He requested that his loan was terminated, and to be honest, for the money he was earning, it probably wasn't worth keeping him here. That does mean that our mentoring group's changed again. Adam Lewis has taken over to resume the position he had previously. He's mentoring the likes of Probert and our other youngsters who are being promoted from the under-18s. But Jay Taylor's coming on loan from Villa. It's literally just an extra body to the squad. He can play up front if need be, and he's comfortable in midfield. A really solid 27-year-old midfielder, 3-star ability, 3.5 potential, and he's only on 12 grand a week, so it certainly doesn't hit the wage bill as hard as Suzuki did. So a decent signing. He probably won't get too much action, but just to have an extra player available in the squad is a real bonus as we head towards the running. But let's go and have a look at our lineup for today. It's 11th v 12th in the Premier League. Just 1 point separates us in the division, as we seem to be the 2 sides competing in mid-table, with 4 points above us and 5 points below us. It doesn't seem like we're going to be moving too much this year. We're clear favourites at home as we've been in good form. Wolves on the other hand have been in woeful form recently, but that doesn't mean anything today. We've never beaten this side and they could well stop us in this one. And it only takes one defeat for a poor run and crisis to begin. So let's go and look at the team selection for today. We've got Stevie Maxwell in goal, Cisse and Lonergan Irwin are the fullbacks with Bedger and Leclerc in the middle. McDonald's in the anchorman role. He's resumed that position brilliantly. He's not letting Vladimir have a chance, so McDonald's first choice for the rest of this season. Hayes and Lappin are the central midfield duo. We've got Hernan Air on the right and Daniel Kozol on the left. A bit of a disappointing season for him after last year, but Lee Rutherford up front's back in form, and that's that's all we need at the moment to try and get our safety secured early. Ray Probert's not made it to the bench today. The plan is that we just want to get our strongest squad out there, try and stay up as quickly as possible, and then there's no reason why Probert can't start the last 7 or 8 games and really get a good amount of first team football to influence his future development. So let's go and get into the game. Fingers crossed we can get another strong home result and really push ourselves towards survival. Let's go and talk to the lads. We're playing on normal 4-3-3. We want to encourage the lads. We've told them to go and impress us. Stuart Jelling recommended the same thing. So let's get into the first half. It's not a full house, but obviously we're playing miles away from our actual city. Let's get into the game and fingers crossed we can get a result. Torquay obviously isn't a city, it's a town, but nevertheless that's a minor technicality as Lonergan Irwin puts the ball in the box. It's straight through to the Wolves keeper, and if this goal kick doesn't lead to a chance, that was the most pointless highlight ever. Cantu brings it down for Wolves, a brilliant effort at the other end. Maxwell tips it over the bar, and we've got a corner to defend now. Cantu will take it himself. It's delivered to the back post, it's very overhit, and Fraser can't get there, but it deflects off the fullback, and it's behind for another corner for the away side. It's going to be an outswinging delivery, Cantu to take it again, into the back post, but Hayes heads away, and it's fallen for MacDonald for Wolves, who's going to get the ball inside to his central midfielder. Fosu-Mensah brings it down and gets it wide to Cantu. He's certainly been the star man so far, into the back post, but the header straight at Maxwell, and he gathers the ball comfortably as it remains 0-0. It's another Wolves corner as we're back for a third highlight. It's headed in by Issa Diop. A really poor start to the game. Wolves have been in woeful form, but they're absolutely dominating this one. And this is why we said we shouldn't be clear favourites, as we've really not been up to the speed of the game so far. 15 minutes gone, Wolves lead deservedly, and we're yet to even have a shot on goal. It's Lee Rutherford with a free kick as we get our first shot of the match. It's an absolutely terrible effort though, and it's well over the crossbar. 20 minutes gone, we've got a Wolves delivery again. This time they go short to the edge of the box. Hermans runs in unopposed. It's deflecting around everywhere, but Diop's offside, and thankfully the whistle goes. We survive at just 1-0, but we've really got to find a way forward in this game. Lonergan Irwin gets the ball into Lappin. Can we create something out wide here with Kozel? Coming forward, he's now trying to cut inside. Lays it off to Lappin who can shoot, but he goes wide to Cisse. Now MacDonald in the middle. The first spell of possession we've seen on camera here, and it's out to Lonergan Irwin on the left. Good delivery, Diop heads away. The goal scorer doing well in the other box now. Here's MacDonald who gets it from Hayes. He plays it to Lappin, and now Hayes again. Into Kozel, cuts inside to Lappin. Plays a 1-2, Kozel's on the edge, but his shot's blocked and it falls to Irwin. He's not had as much luck this time. Scored a brilliant goal away against Blackburn, but Lining didn't strike twice on this occasion. We've got a knock to Lee Rutherford. That's something we're going to have to watch out for. Losing him would be a real blow as we don't have another good striker. Bobby Duncan's not really at Premier League level. Kozel's into the box, it deflects off the fullback, and now he's back with MacDonald on the edge. He finds Hayes, into Lappin. Now Rutherford got a chance. It's a pretty tame effort in the end though, and he's straight into the keeper's arms who holds it comfortably. 15 minutes to the break, and we've really got to try and come into this game now. We're starting to get shots on goal, but we don't look like scoring, and we haven't created that clear-cut chance yet, so it's all been comfortable for Wolves so far. Hayes gets the ball back to MacDonald as we look to build from the back again. Here's Cisse, inside to Hayes. We keep getting warnings about Rutherford's state of fitness. That's something we're really going to have to watch, though he's in behind now, and he volleys the ball in. He certainly didn't look injured there, and he didn't in his celebration either, as we see a bit of a cartwheel from the centre forward. 5 minutes to the break, it's 1-1 here in Bournemouth. Air with the delivery, it's into Rutherford again. He threw himself at it, and we turned it around just like that. 4 minutes to the break, Lee Rutherford's got a brace, and after a terrible first half an hour, we lead 2-1 against Wolves. It's Jamal Lewis on the left for Wolves, a player that's obviously familiar from our other series. He's been an absolute superstar in that one for Newcastle, but we don't want him to do too well today. Cahard runs into the box completely unopposed, but his shot's really tame, and he's straight at Maxwell who holds it easily. There's the half-time whistle. Lee Rutherford's the hero again, and considering he hadn't scored a Premier League goal 2 months ago, he's now got to double figures. A fantastic return from the front man. He always delivers. We've just got to find that consistency. If he wasn't such a confidence player, he'd probably be absolutely world class. We're going to tell the lads to keep it up. We want them to take that momentum from the last 15 minutes, but you never know what's going to happen with these lads. All the sides in mid-table in the Premier League, they're just inconsistent, and that's why they're down there. If we played like we did in the last 10 minutes all the time, we'd be up in the top 7 or 8. It's an hour gone and Stevie Maxwell's got a goal kick for us. Goes long towards the centre-backs and Diop heads away. It's into midfield and Fosu-Mensah and Herman's coming forward on the right. Into Cantu, what a chance that was. He's put it wide of the post under no pressure at all. That's really poor by the centre-forward for Wolves. We'd have expected it to be 2-2 there. A warning sign as Wolves start the second half the better side again. And with a quarter of the game to go, we'll think about subs in a moment. We're going to demand a bit more from the lads. Give it to the 75-minute mark. But we are going to make a couple of substitutions now just to try and shore things up at the back. The two wingers haven't had the best games, so we are going to replace them. Hearn and Aaron Kozel are going to drop into midfield, and we're going to bring on Adam Lewis on the left-hand side, and Hearn and Air's going to be replaced by Jimmy Lindstrom, as they're both playing in their natural winger positions. Let's get back into the game. No changes in mentality for now. It's just about trying to see out a victory. We've had a lot of narrow wins recently, as David Crawford, our former player, nicks it off McDonald. It's into Fraser, and Maxwell makes a fantastic save to tip it behind for a corner. David Crawford's been an absolute superstar for Wolves. Not sure why he was on the bench today. Maybe it's just because it's a midweek game, and Crawford always had really poor fitness when he was with us. Cantu delivers to Diop, a poor first touch and Cisse hacks away. 10 minutes to go, let's make our final change. Hayes hasn't had the best game in the world. He's going to be replaced by Vladimir, who will drop into the anchorman role with Rowan McDonald in central midfield, and he's going to drop to a defensive duty with Lappin dropping to a support duty. We're also going to drop our fullbacks to a more defensive role just to make sure they see out the last few minutes. We don't want them getting caught out in behind, and we want to make sure that we see this out 2-1. We've become quite the expert in this, having had to do it in almost every game. We've had so many tight 1-goal victories, and Leclerc's got the ball in the middle. Rutherford back to Lappin. Can he make it more comfortable? Unfortunately he can't, and now it's a 2-on-2. Look how quickly Wolves have got their bodies forward. Fraser's got the ball on the right, but Lonergan Irwin does a brilliant job. That's the benefit of having a defensive fullback. It's the right hand side throw in for Wolves. McDonald takes it to Morricone. What a delivery that was, but Maxwell manages to hold it. We've dropped to a balanced mentality. We're going to go to time wasting now, drop our tempo a little, be more disciplined out of possession. We don't need too much creative freedom now. Hold our shape and slow the pace down and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. It's all about seeing out the result here. We've done it so many times, but of course because we're on camera now, it's always going to be a bit more nervy, and I'm sure after this poor second half, Wolves will get at least one more chance. Adam Lewis defending there, clears the ball away. There's no one up there. We're just hoofing it to nobody, and Wolves can start again in the middle. Out to Jamal Lewis on the left. He finds the winger. It's in towards Maxwell. Has to be safety first, and he tips it over the bar. We're not going to see the corner as it stands at the moment. It's 2-1, and it's going to be a very tense finish here, but we still lead at the moment, and that's the most important thing. It's Talasise with a throw. He should go short here. He has to Lindstrom, knocks it back to him with a 1-2. Cisse's got two men inside. He finds Lappin, goes for the shot. It was pretty speculative, and it was blocked straight back to him, fortunately. Cisse finds Lappin again. Back inside to McDonald. He finds Vladimir, who's in holding midfield now. Don't give the ball away, son. Goes back to McDonald. It's a really good bit of play, but we are getting pressed backwards. The highlight ends, and there's just a minute of stoppage time to go, as we're back with Wolves having a throw-in. McDonald nicks it off them in a defensive area, though. Rutherford gets it wide to Lindstrom. Rutherford's in the middle if he can find him. He was on for a hat-trick, but the delivery's poor, and now Morricone's got one more chance for Wolves. We were linked with him via our scouts, but they wanted 35 million and 70 grand a week. He's a really good player, but he won't be joining us for that. He's a throw on the left for Wolves, just 20 seconds to go. Vladimir hacks it away for a second time now, although he's passed it straight back to Wolves. What a terrible bit of defending. Jamal Lewis on the left delivers it in, but Maxwell's got the safest hands in the book, and the final whistle goes as he still has possession. We nick it 2-1 in a really poor performance. Wolves deserve to win that game every day of the week, but Lee Rutherford with a brilliant brace, two clinical finishes, and we come away with the 3 points and move up towards the top half. We're 2 points off 10th place Newcastle, but they do have a game in hand. But most importantly for us, we got the 3 points, and we're now 15 points clear of relegation. We were definitely fortunate to beat Wolves. I'll make absolutely no argument against that. Lee Rutherford picked up a knock, but it's only 1 to 3 days, so he should be fit on Sunday as we face Brentford in the Premier League. He's got 5 days to recover for that one. We're going to go and praise him for his performance in front of goal. 2 fantastic finishes, and that's what got us the 3 points on the night. So the task now is to skip ahead to deadline day. We're just going to come back and show you a bit of what we do on the day, and if there is any news we'll show it, but I'm not sure there'll be much action. So I'll deal with this press conference off camera, and we'll see you in a minute for that one. Okay, we're back to confirm our participation in deadline day today. As you've seen in the last few years at Torquay when we've done this, it's normally just batting off interest from other clubs. We normally get one or two little bits of business done if we need it. I'm not too worried about that today. We've got one loan offer on the table, which is just for a bit of backup, but other than that, I think it's just seeing off offers, or do we get something we just cannot refuse? We've already had a media interview asking us about Talasise, and I can see we've now got an offer from Newcastle. Taylor Furnell as one of our youngsters out on loan. They're talking about him getting a contract offer from Scotland. There's a few clubs that have been offering for him, so we're not going to worry about him too much. 16 million for Talasise, just one more than we paid for him. He's a developing youngster doing well for us, and we don't have many backup options at the moment. So before I deal with this offer, I'm just going to go and have a look at Richard Quirk. We have got a few youngsters being scouted, but I don't think any of them are going to compare to this lad. He's out on loan at the moment, so we're not quite sure how he's getting on. He's at Fulham this season, playing first team football, now described as a wonder kid but not doing too well in the Championship. We're going to make an inquiry for him and we're going to reject this Cisse offer for now. We'll get another one later on and we'll accept that if we're getting Quirk, but I highly doubt that's going to be the case. Our director of football, Slavisa Jokanovic, made an offer for Julian Weigl, an experienced pro who's a good youngster in real life, but unfortunately he doesn't want to discuss terms, so that one's not going to be a worry for now. I do still let our director of football in this save make offers for players, it's just I want to have the final say on them, and obviously I'll still bid for my own players. But if a football man of Jokanovic's experience does want to spot someone, we're more than happy to listen to what he's got to say. But let's move on through deadline day. We have got a few youngsters being scouted. If I go and show you the assignments at the moment, we've got 3 players being looked at, all from Switzerland. It seems like that's where our scouts have been recently. They've picked up 3 individuals that might be good, so we're going to have a look at them a little bit later on today and see if any of them are worth taking a gamble on. They're all relatively low cost and low risk signings, so if one of them's good enough, we'll bring them in. They're all 18 or under, so they will become trained in this country, which is really good for us for our homegrown status later on. But let's move on through deadline day, and we'll be back when we next get some news. Right, we're back again into the afternoon now, and as you would expect, Southampton told us to go away regarding Richard Quirk. They certainly don't want to sell him, and why would they? He's a wonder kid. There might be another right back on the way out though. One of our youngsters, Stephen Atkinson, he's got quite high potential, but he cannot tackle to save his life. Brighton are trying to sign him as he's still on a youth contract, and we due over $500,000 in compensation, as well as a percentage of the profit from his sell-on, should he reach his potential later down the line, so I wouldn't be too sad to see that one go on. We've got an offer for Lucas Bedger, £17 million. Not bad for a 28-year-old, but he is absolutely key to our plans at centre-half, so we're certainly not letting him go anywhere. We'd have to get around 25 million to consider it, because then Ross Taylor could do enough of a job. Lee Milne, our backup keeper's got an offer, but 375 grand isn't worth the hassle. We're not going to be able to find a good backup keeper on deadline day, so there's no point us worrying about that one for now. Again, Jokanovic seems so heart set on getting Weigl in. He doesn't want to join us, mate. You're going to have to give up. He's a brilliant player in midfield, but I think Jokanovic is just going to have to give up. If he could focus on getting someone else who actually wants to join the club, that would be wonderful at this stage of the season. It is the holding midfielder we're desperately looking for, but Rowan McDonald's doing a good job at the moment, so I won't be too upset if we don't manage to sign anyone. Let's quickly go and have a look at these 3 youngsters. We mentioned them a couple of moments ago. The 3 Swiss men are being scouted, so let's go and have a look at them. One of them is a young goalkeeper, an 18-year-old. He's got 1.5-star ability at the moment, so we're certainly not going to sign him now, but maybe in the summer he'll be someone worth bringing in. We've got a young winger from Basel, Diogo Souza. He looks a pretty good player. He's got all the key attributes there at the moment, and he's got a relatively high potential according to our scouts. He may be someone worth bringing in, so we'll put in a relatively low offer for him off camera, just to see if we can steal him on deadline day. The other one is Simon Zaniol, and he doesn't look quite as good, to be honest. A perfectionist personality, which is nice, but he hasn't quite got that same ability at the moment, and with us already getting Jay Taylor in on loan, he's not someone I'm going to prioritise. So we will go in for Souza, and we'll come back in a few moments, maybe with the chance to agree a transfer for a youngster. Okay, it's 4:30. We've had an offer accepted for Souza and we've offered him a contract as well. And now Stephen Atkinson, the young right back, has confirmed his move to Brighton. 525 grand bought in, so a really decent deal. And we wish him nothing but success for the future, as we've got a sell-on clause if we need it too. So a really good move. We're getting a media question about Souza. They're asking if we're just acting on deadline day, but obviously we know we were scouting them before, so it's something we pre-planned. We're just trying to make a sneaky offer now. We're back immediately as the offer offers come flying in. Jokanovic is still going for Weigl for some reason, but we've had another offer for Beja, this time 20 million. We said we'd accept 25, so maybe we're going to try and negotiate them up. Sheffield United are coming in for Milne. £500,000 isn't a bad offer, but we do need to try and get a bit more out of them. So we're at the stage now where we can probably negotiate. So for Milne, we're going to try and double everything. 600 grand in an initial fee. We're going to try and do the additional fees up to 250, and after league appearances doesn't matter, as they're never really going to get a performance. Let's just move it up so it rounds up to £1 million and see if they'll accept those terms. They won't. The first time they've rejected it, I'm not going to go in again. You get one chance or you're off, so we're keeping Lee Milne. For Beja, it's a little bit different. I reckon we can probably get a bit more out of this. Let's go for 20 million as an initial fee. We're going to go for 7.5 in instalments, and after international appearances, I'm not sure at the moment. Is he first choice for Poland? He is playing international games at the moment, so we're going to round that up to 2.5 million. Do you know what? I know it might be the deal breaker, but let's try and edge it up a bit more. 22.5 million, just because that means we've got £30 million in guaranteed money, and if they give us that offer, then we'll happily let him go. He's a brilliant first team player, but we can replace him for that price. Suggest those terms. They've negotiated it again. I knew it was too good to be true. We're going to give them one more chance at the previous offer that we nearly gave away a moment ago. 20 million up front, 7.5 in instalments, and then 2.5 after international appearances. 30 million in potential money. Suggest those terms. They've turned it down again, and although the offer's up to 24.5 million now, that's not all guaranteed money. They keep putting up the international appearances fee, and at 28 there's no guarantee he'll make 20 more appearances, so we're going to have to reject that offer for now. Hopefully they'll come back in desperate towards the end of the day, and then we can really take advantage with 30 or 40 million. I do need to be on the lookout for a centre half, although having said that, we have got Houlihan out on loan, so we may be able to recall him if we need him. Let's move on and we'll be back with more news in a moment. Right, we've got our confirmation for Diogo Sousa, the 17-year-old Basel winger, £3.5 million and just 3.5 grand a week, so I'm sure we'll be able to get our money back if we help him develop to at least championship standard. So let's accept that deal, and then as we move on through deadline day, I'm sure we'll have more offers coming in. So the deal's been agreed for Sousa, and now we've got our scout report for him as well. He's joining us on the 9th of June after he turns 18, and he will become a homegrown player at the club. And if we have a look at him, he's got all the key attributes. Okay, he's probably not quite as well rounded as we'd like, but he's someone we can certainly develop. He's got the most important attributes, and that means he should become a decent player. He'll continue to get game time for Basel, and we look forward to meeting him and giving him a chance in pre-season. We've got an offer for the other centre-half now. Middlesbrough have turned their attentions to Leclerc instead. He's a little bit younger though, and they've offered less than half the amount. That's absolutely embarrassing, so he can go away. We've got an offer for Lee Milne adding up to 875 grand. It's not the £1 million we were looking for, so we're going to reject that one as well. Although it is a good offer for the player, the hassle of getting a backup keeper now, and the risk of not getting one at all, is too much to take a gamble on at the moment. Again, Jokanovic is going for Weigl. When will he give up with him? Is there any way we can tell him to stop looking? I don't think there is. We can add him to the discard list, but I don't know if that will work at all. So we're just going to leave it for now. And if he keeps making offers, then good luck to him. Okay, we're back again, just 4 hours to go now. Julian Weigl has had 2 more offers from Jokanovic. He's not willing to discuss terms. I do not understand what's going on here. Maybe this is a slight glitch. We've got another offer for Leclerc, but it's not good enough. And of the 2 centre-halves, he's the one I'd rather keep, as he's 2 years younger and just as good as Beja. We've got our confirmation for a signing at last though. We mentioned about a potential loanee coming in. This one had been pre-arranged about 9 or 10 days ago, but we finally got the confirmation. Michael Duncan's a young striker at Manchester United. He's just there as a backup option. We've obviously got Bobby Duncan, who's not quite good enough at the moment, but Michael Duncan's a different type of striker, a complete forward who can be a target man as well. He's great in the air, he's got plenty of strength, and he's really good physically across the board. So if we do need to throw on a second striker with 20 minutes to go, we've not really got that option at 1-0 down at the moment. So I think Michael Duncan's going to be a good signing, and we'll bring him in on loan for the next 4 months. We'll confirm that deal and meet him in a moment as we move towards the end of a busy deadline day. Here's Michael Duncan then, an 18-year-old wonder kid. He's only been paid 7 grand a week if he plays and 14 grand a week if he's not. He's 3-star ability, 4.5 potential, and the young Welsh player looks a really good pro, someone who we can certainly use off the bench this season. It does mean we could sell Bobby Duncan if we wanted to, but we're not going to get any big offers this January, so we're just going to leave it for now and we'll come back to him at the end of the season, though it will probably be Bobby Duncan's last year. Just an hour and a quarter to go and Slavisa Jokanovic has finally turned his attentions elsewhere, this time to Liam Price from Rangers, a young central midfielder from Wales, 30 caps and he's a decent pro and it looks like he would have been a good player, but the offer's been rejected and unfortunately he won't be joining, though we could try and get him with a slightly bigger offer. So let's go for 6 million with 2 added on. £8 million is nowhere near enough and I can't gamble over 10 million on someone we haven't had scouted. I know Jokanovic's judgment is normally very good, but on this occasion we're just going to have to let it go as there's only an hour of the window left. What we are going to do though, as he's highlighted this player, is go and get a scout report for him, and there's no reason we can't come back in for him in the summer. We've got one more question from the media. We're told them we're happy with the business we've done. We don't need to open the chequebook as we've got a couple of good loan signings in and we've pre-agreed one for the summer. A young centre half is something we do need though. We've only got 3 at the club at the moment and with an hour to go Jokanovic has made his move for another Dortmund player. This time it's Ralf Goretzka, a young centre half, and hopefully he'll be joining us in a moment. There we go then, confirmation just in time. I have no idea how good this guy is, but £8 a week, 16 if we don't play him, and to get a 4th centre half in is most important, as if we get an injury or two, we could have been in a bit of trouble. It looks like he's a 3-star ability player, so that's certainly a bit of a bonus. He is our 4th best centre half, but he's got plenty of room for improvement, 5-star potential for the 19-year-old German, and he's someone who could be worth signing in the summer, though he has got a very poor natural fitness. He can play at left and right back as well, a natural left footer, and I think we may well have unearthed a diamond here. Well done Slavisa Jokanovic, look at the work he can do if he doesn't just focus on a 34-year-old midfielder, and we finally completed our deadline day action. We'll be back in half an hour to round it up. Okay, the transfer window has slammed shut and we've done a bit of business today. A very busy day, even though we didn't make any permanent signings. We didn't let any big players go, but even so, we had so many offers and it just means that deadline day takes a while. So I hope you appreciate the little insight into the day. I know it means we've got a longer episode, but just so you can see how we act on these days. We've got one youngster joining us in the summer, as we confirmed earlier in the day. We made 2 more loan signings. Let Stephen Atkinson go to Brighton for £500,000. Michael Duncan's coming up front and Ralf Goretzka, the young centre half. Hopefully the 2 of them will do pretty well, at least improve in training if they don't play too much, and we'll be able to go on and sign them in the summer as young stars who could potentially feature in the first team. But after a fortuitous win in the Premier League a couple of days ago, a really positive deadline day, no big players leaving the club, and we've got another chance to progress for the rest of the year. So if you did enjoy this bumper episode, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the signings, all the way we go through deadline day. You can see even in this save, now we've got a good director of football, I still do throw a little bit of pressure on him. Let him have the responsibility, as he's got all year to go out and scout players. Let me know what you thought of the performance against Wolves. I thought we were absolutely awful, but we managed to nick the victory in the end, which was the most important thing. We'll be back for one of those 2 big games at the start of March. We've got Tottenham away and then United at home. Our youth intake will be around then as well, so hopefully that will be the next episode, or if we do get to the quarter-final of the FA Cup, we may leave it one more game for that, so you'll join us at some point in March with another big game on the horizon. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from 2 long-term stories, this one with Torquay United and our Journeyman series, The Head Coach. There's also weekly content from my Snooker 19 career every Friday at 4:30, and keep your eyes peeled this week for action from Cricket 19. The official game of the Ashes has been released and you should see some content on the channel this week. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support as always. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time for another big episode from Torquay as we hope for a cup run and another big youth intake at the club.